No one tells you how lonely it gets. Not at the beginning, not when you're young, not when you still believe that life will be fair. Because one day, everything changes. You stop being the one who needs help, and you become the one everyone depends on. Your family looks at you, your responsibilities grow, and suddenly, you don't have the luxury to be weak anymore. You carry things you never talk about, pressure, expectations, fear, and you carry them silently. People see your strength, but they never see the weight behind it. They see you working, providing, fixing problems, but they never stop and ask, "Are you okay?" And the truth is, you don't even remember the last time someone really asked. Because as a man, you are expected to figure it out. Alone, you learn to stay quiet. You learn to hold it in. You learn to smile, even when everything inside you is falling apart. And slowly, that silence becomes your identity, not because you want it, but because you have no other choice. This is the part no one talks about. The nights where you sit alone, thinking about everything, but saying nothing. The moments where you feel exhausted, but you keep going anyway. The times where you feel like breaking, but you don't. Because you can't. Because if you fall apart, everything around you might fall with you. And that's the truth about being a man. A truth that is rarely spoken, but deeply lived. At some point, you stop asking for help. Not because you don't need it, but because you realize no one is coming. You become the solution to every problem around you. Family issues, financial pressure, unexpected setbacks, they all land on you, and you don't complain. You just handle it, because that's what a man does. You fix things. You carry weight. You hold everything together, even when you feel like you're falling apart inside. There are days you feel overwhelmed, days where everything hits at once. Bills, responsibilities, expectations. And yet, you still show up. You still work. You still provide. You still push forward. Because stopping is not an option. No one prepares you for this. The constant pressure to be strong, to be reliable, to never break. And the hardest part, you start believing that your worth is measured by how much you can carry, not by who you are, but by what you can handle. And slowly, you become someone who never rests, someone who never asks, someone who just endures. Because deep down, you know, if you drop everything, there's no one behind you to catch it. Loneliness doesn't always look like being alone. Sometimes it looks like being surrounded by people and still feeling unseen. You are always there for others. You listen. You support. You show up. You become the one people run to when they're falling apart. But when it's your turn, there's silence. Not because people don't care, but because they assume you're strong enough to handle it. So they don't ask. They don't check. They don't look deeper. And slowly, you stop expecting them to. You stop sharing. You stop explaining. You stop opening up. Because every time you try, it feels like no one really understands. They hear your words, but not your weight. They see your smile, but not your struggle. And that's where the loneliness begins. Not in the absence of people, but in the absence of connection. You can sit in a crowded room and feel completely alone. You can laugh with everyone and still feel empty inside. You can be needed by many, but known by no one. And the hardest part is, You don't even know how to change it anymore. Because you've been this way for so long. You've built walls so high, so strong, that even you can't find the door back out. You tell yourself, it's fine. You tell yourself, this is just how life is. But deep down, there's a part of you that just wants to be understood, not judged, not expected, not relied on, just understood, even if only for a moment. Because sometimes all a man really needs is someone to say, I see you. There comes a point where it all becomes too much. Not suddenly, not all at once, but slowly, day by day. The pressure builds, the weight gets heavier, and you start to feel it in your body, in your mind, in your silence. You get tired, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. The kind of tired that sleep can't fix. But you don't stop. You can't, because everything still depends on you. So you keep going, even when your mind is exhausted, even when your heart feels empty. You keep showing up. You keep pretending. You keep holding everything together. And then there are moments, small ones, quiet ones, where you almost break. Not in front of everyone, but when you're alone, late at night, sitting in silence, staring into nothing. And for a second, you feel it. The weight, the pressure, the pain, all at once. And you just want it to stop. But you don't cry. You don't scream. You don't fall apart. Because you've trained yourself not to. Because somewhere along the way, you learned that no one is coming to hold you together. So you hold yourself even when you're shaking, even when you're barely standing. And that's the part people never see. The quiet breakdowns, the hidden struggles, the battles you fight inside your own mind, alone. Because as a man, you don't get to break loudly. You break quietly, and then you get up again like nothing ever happened. And here's the truth. The one no one wants to say out loud. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to carry your burden. No one is coming to fix your life. Because this is your responsibility. Your path, your struggle, your life. And the sooner you accept this, the stronger you become. It sounds harsh. It feels unfair. But it's real. Because the world doesn't slow down for your pain. It doesn't pause. For your exhaustion, it doesn't care if you feel ready or not. It just keeps moving. And you either move with it, or you get left behind. That's the reality. No one owes you understanding. No one owes you support. No one owes you anything. And that's not to make you bitter. It's to wake you up. Because when you stop waiting for someone to rescue you, you start building yourself. When you stop expecting people to understand you, you start understanding yourself. When you stop relying on others, you become someone who can rely on himself. And that changes everything. Yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's heavy. But it's also powerful. Because once you realize that everything depends on you, you stop being a victim and you become in control. But here's the shift. This isn't your weakness. This is your power. Everything you've been carrying, everything you've been through, it didn't break you. It built you. Every silent night, every hidden struggle, every moment you kept going when you wanted to stop. That's where your strength was created. Not in comfort, but in pressure. Not when things were easy, but when everything felt impossible. You didn't quit. You adapted. You grew. You became stronger without even realizing it. And that's the difference. Most people run from pain, but you learn to walk through it. That loneliness you feel, it's not just emptiness, it's space. Space to understand yourself. Space to become who you're meant to be. Because when there's no noise, no expectations, no distractions, you finally hear your own voice. You finally see your own path. And that's where real strength begins. Not from others, but from within. You don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need approval. You don't need validation, because you've already proven something to yourself. That you can carry the weight, that you can stand alone, that you can keep going, even when it's hard. And that is power. So if you're watching this, and you feel this weight, this pressure, this silence, I want you to know something. You're not alone, even if it feels like it. There are men out there, fighting the same battles, carrying the same burdens, smiling through the same pain, just like you, and maybe no one sees it. Maybe no one understands it, but that doesn't make it meaningless, because every step you take, every time you don't give up, every moment you choose to keep going, it matters more than you think. You don't need the world to recognize your struggle. You don't need applause to prove your strength, because real strength is what you do when no one is watching. So keep going. Even when it's hard, even when you feel tired, even when everything inside you tells you to stop. Keep going, because one day, all of this, the pain, the struggle, the silence, it will turn into something greater, something stronger, something unbreakable. And on that day, you'll look back and realize you made it, not because it was easy, but because you refused to quit. So stay strong, even when no one sees it.